Hey guys, it's Barrett with the Gimping Camper. So we're here today to do a review and just first impressions on our MCOMBO portable gazebo that we have. It is a QuickSet type, so it's got like the X things in the middle. And we're all familiar with those brands that are pretty expensive. I ran across this on a Facebook post on a group, and that was highly recommended by the people that had it. And so I thought, I've never seen an off-brand of this, so I want to try it out and give it a good review. So I reached out to them. They did give me a promotional deal. I did pay for this, but it was less than your average price. That being said, we used it today. We had to do a group camp out every year at the end of February, and it's the opening weekend for this campground here in Southeast Tennessee. And this thing has saved the day. This is the third time we've done this trip. The first time it was just really cold. The second time it was real rainy all weekend. And this time it was kind of a combination of decently cold and raining, but the raining wasn't real hard except for the first night. And I had this thing set up. It does come with stakes in the corners, and there are stakes that you can put in the cross sections and the X's there and help anchor it to the ground. So I did do that first night, and I was going back and forth on it. I'm glad I did because it did get really windy that night. They do have a couple of different sizes of this thing. This is the larger one that they had. They sent me one that was like 8-foot diameter at first. I thought I really need something bigger than they had this. The square portions are 6'6" tall. And in the middle where it raises up, I just measured it. It's 8'2" right there. That's pretty big ceiling clearance for a big guy like me. I don't feel cramped at all. Sometimes I have to duck a little bit just getting under the zipper door there. But besides that, I feel fine. I will say I was really surprised at the way that shape kind of goes outward there at the X. That gives you a lot more space. It feels like a lot more space on the inside. There is 10 foot in diameter across. And so, you know, it's pretty roomy in there. At first we had it around one of the picnic tables. I'll show you the picnic table here at this campground. So at first we had it around one of these picnic tables, and it was really cramped, but these are pretty big picnic tables. Let's actually get some measurements on that. But those picnic tables are 8 foot long and about 6 feet wide. So, you know, I did have to reposition it a couple of times because the edge of the bench there was poking on one of the screens, so I moved it around a little bit. We had just enough room to get around the table, but one of my friends changed our life day 2. So he's like, forget the picnic table. It's cold out here. It's a little sprinkly. We're having a hard time getting the fire to stay good and hot and smokeless in the solo stove. And so one of my friends said, well, I got my propane fire pit. How about we bring it over? Because I have read that some people put the propane fire pits inside these guys. And I'll also say that when we had the walls on there, I could not believe how much warmer it was in there just without anything versus not having the walls on there. Because those walls, I mean, you can see all the strips of Velcro here. They're mostly held on in the corners with a hook, but then they just Velcro to the sides, and there's quite a bit of gaps in there. But it was pretty windy, and none of the wind was getting through, and I could not believe it. Now, when we put the propane fire pit in there, I definitely wouldn't put a wood fire pit in there because it's going to be a lot hotter, I believe. And especially with the solo stove, because a lot of that heat just goes straight up. But we did angle back a lot of those sidewalls, and I had them all open at one point when we first started it, and it was still pretty warm in there. Now, what I've been told is those fire pits are 52,000 BTU. And so even on low, it was almost too much heat in there. So we did open up the corners to have plenty of ventilation on every side, and it just seemed to work pretty well. We also had the front door open just like this, but with the solid panels. And we fit way more people in there than I thought you could. I thought, well, we'll move it away from the picnic table. We can put 4 or 5 chairs in there, get a few people in there, stay warm. But we fit 9 people in this thing, 8 chairs and 1 person standing up, and we were all pretty comfortable. If anything, we were a little bit hot. So that's another thumbs up that this thing gets for me. This is our first trip with it. I don't know how much I'll use it just because I don't like setting a lot of stuff up, but it was relatively quick. It was kind of hard. There was a learning curve to it, And so the first time I had a couple of people helping me, and we still had a little bit of issue because it takes a little bit of pressure to pop that X out, especially when you lifted the top off. And so what would happen is we would be pulling it, and even though we'd be pulling it, the whole tent would move. So when we were doing the sides, like it was trying to move sideways, but I found out the trick to that, it's got a little bit of material here on the bottom. If you kind of stand on that material, don't stand on the screen, but stand on that material a little bit and anchor one side with your hand at the edge of the X, then you can pull it and pop it out. The other thing I found for the roof, because it was just lifting off the ground, was having to two people hold it down whenever we were doing that. But if you hold the very edge of the X like down here, and you push, not all the way in the center, because even with my long arms I couldn't reach the center, but as close to the center as you can, and just kind of pull down and push up, and that thing popped right up there. So that's probably what I'll do from now on. The other option is to, after you get all the X's popped out on the sides, is to put the stakes in and then go in there in the very center and just push it straight up. That should work just fine. It comes with a carry case. I've not put it in there yet. You're going to witness me trying to fit that back in for the first time, and we'll see how much of a pain that is, because we all know how well tents fit back inside their carry cases on a normal setup, right? All in all, I'm pretty pleased with the construction. I will say that a lot of the friends that I had over, especially after we got that fire pit out, they were all like, how do I order one of these? And the truth is, I don't know how you order one of these, because I couldn't find it online. And so they had to set up, I purchased it through the email because all the ones I saw online were out of stock. So I'm gonna give them a call, and I'm gonna put an update right here. All right guys, so let's break this thing down. I already took the side panels off. I got some videos of that, and we're gonna just kind of lay over some different stuff here. But we're gonna take it down. This is real world taking it down. There aren't any stakes in the ground, but as far as popping it down, folding it up, you're gonna see it live right now. There are 2 tent poles in here, just one on each side of the door, since there's not this X structure in the door. So there's 1 tent pole on this side and 1 tent pole on this side, just to give it a little more stability around the door. There's just a piece of Velcro in the middle to let go, and then there's a pocket at the top and bottom that those both pop into. Then they just fold in half. First thing that we're gonna do is to put the top down. So we're gonna go in and pull it straight down. I can't even reach the very top, and so all I do is I pull as high up as I can reach, and I stabilize the corner with my other hand. And then it starts trying to fold up by itself. So now we're going to hold the corner, step on the edge, push it in, and it just starts collapsing. The last one. All right, so we have our side panels here. Now those were not in the original carry bag, so I'm guessing that they're not going to fit in there. They came shipped separately. We have these 2 straps. We're going to strap this together, and I guess that just keeps it from unfolding while you're trying to put it in the bag. These were on there when it was shipped to me. All right, now we're just going to try to finagle this thing in the carry bag. I'm going to start with the end up here just because it's smaller, less stuff to pack in. Not going to be a lot of extra space, I can tell already. This is our bag that's got all our tie-out strings and stakes in there. I'm just going to tie a little loose knot in that. I'm going to put it right down here where there's the most space. Put our tent stakes in up here too. And then because all this fluff's down here and this is kind of open, I'm thinking I can probably fit these side panels in there. So we're going to try it. This bag's going to be stuffed, so. I think it's going to work. Now when you're zipping this thing up, you want to be very careful that you don't get any of this nylon in the zipper, because that's going to mess your plans up and maybe tear it. That was a lot less painless than I thought it was going to be. And if I did it a few times, it'd probably be a little faster too. This thing, it probably weighs 30, 40 pounds though. I've had a few projects where I've been emptying out some things with some weight in the camper. I wasn't thinking I was going to carry this around, but I think that I am. So I've kind of offset the weight for this with some other things. Guess we're gonna have to put it in our front storage. We brought it in the box this way. I didn't really like it because with the generator over there, the only place that I really had to put it was above the batteries on one end, but it'll work. There's nothing, you know, there's no metal gonna touch the battery post together or anything like that. It's not ideally how I would like to do it, but it'll work. I think what I'm going to do to keep it off the battery is I keep a couple of packs of leveling blocks in there. I'm going to put the leveling blocks beside the battery, and that should hold it up off the battery, which, like I say, shouldn't be an issue anyway. But it's going to be something that I'm more comfortable with, so that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. All in all, I'm really happy with the MCOMBO Quick Shelter. You know, like I say, I'll try to find a link or something, put that down in the description for you if you're interested in ordering it. It's only been our first trip, so I don't know how to do longevity-wise, but it seems to be made fairly well, and I have high hopes for it. So we'll use it for a little while, and we'll let you know how well it lasts, but I have pretty high hopes for it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Be sure to tune in next week.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.